Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 25, Book 1, Akorta, the All-Seeing Ape. And we are back with another awesome book of Beast Quest of Series 25, which recently just came out around the time of, literally like the 11th of July, and now it's the, wasn't the 11th, was it? No, it was, but yeah. Anyway, I finally read it now, so I'm only on the book. And we've got the All-Seeing Ape Akorta. So like always, in-depth story analysis and my overall thoughts on this epic adventure. So, not wasting any time, let's get through with this. Oh god, where are my notes at? So make sure you, if you haven't already, make sure you've read this book before watching this review, obviously. That being said though, let's get to it and start another series of Beast Quest. Tom and friends were in the gardens when suddenly an alarm was alerted. Yeah, they were in the gardens, and then suddenly an alarm was alerted. Everyone saw a wounded warrior show up. Her name was Yara. She was one of the Queen's soldiers from her home of Tangala. After she recovered, she informed the Queen Prince Rotu had been kidnapped by an evil sorcerer called Zargon. He wanted the jewels of Tangala in exchange for the boy's life, so he could set his beasts from the kingdom which the Tangalians turned into his prison, along with the 4 beasts that he had. Despite some reluctance, the Queen said she would deal with this, but Tom, Eleanor, and the new side character Yara would help her out, with Tom mentioning he knew of a beast that could give them a lift. If you're curious, the prison kingdom is called Wakanda, insert Wakanda Forever joke here. Also, Zargon is an ancient wizard, and the Queen assumed he found a way to use his magic to keep himself alive for so long. So that's pretty awesome. And there is something else I want to get into later. But carrying on. Furno arrived. Aroha said goodbye to Hugo and Thomas as she aborted Furno, along with Eleanor, Tom, and Yara. So they flew to Tangala. They have to stay up high because the Queen's forces weren't used to dragons invading the kingdoms. However, there were consequences to this, as both Yara and Aroha had gotten used to the Avantine weather. Now they were cold. So Furno had to go back to his normal height distance, which backfired as the Tangalian forces attacked Furno, making him get knocked out, and Yara fell, and Tom had to save her as he tossed her his shield. Arcta's feather, because, it has Arcta's feather in it, which can save you from falling. But now that he gave it to Yara, how can he save himself? Because they're falling without the shield to help him. Tom woke up Furno just in time, making him land on the plains, and they were soon greeted by the Tangalian forces. The Queen announced her presence, backing down her troops, and Tom dismissed Furno as Yara returned to return Tom's shield to him. So we're up to date so far. Let's see. Yara convinced the Queen they needed the jewels, and despite her reluctance, she agreed to bring them only as a last resort. So that makes sense there. I haven't said this, but I feel I should mention it now. Yara is kind of a jerk, pushing people out of her way, wanting to bring the jewels with them, giving a risk that Zargon could take them. If Yara turns out to be a traitor or loyal to Zargon from the start, I won't be surprised, basically, because we've had this kind of formula before with Prince Rodu and stuff. The Queen and the guys enter a cave to get the jewels. Yara rushes and doesn't listen, alerting a trap, awakening the Guardians, forcing Tom to fight and save our hero team. It wasn't until after the Queen told them that she was the only one who could release the jewels without activating the traps. But despite that, the argument Eleanor and Yara had, they had gotten the jewels. Now Yara's like, I should carry them, but the Queen shut everyone up, basically saying, the Queen shut that up, saying she would be doing it. It's her mission, kinda, making our heroes begin their journey to Wakanda. More evidence for Yara being bad, of course, by let me carry the jewels, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, giving these jewels to Zargon, bad idea, because always he'll bring his beasts free, breaking them from the prison kingdom. Which is weird anyway, because aren't they going towards the prison kingdom? Whatever. There are a few little inconsistencies here, but it's nothing too major, I would say. Let's see where I'm at. Oh, by the way, I should mention, if you see it on camera, I'm not sure if you do, but there is a fly in this room, so bear in mind with that. Limitations, what can you do? So, where are we at now? Let's see. Our heroes entered through the labyrinth jungle, which seemed awfully quiet. After some walking, the queen let the horses go, as she believed they could find their own way back to the queen's palace. She then showed the map. They seemed to have to go a certain way in order to reach Sargon. From the jungle to some peaks to a large moat guarding the prison to finally the prison itself, which is pretty cool, I would say, because we can easily see where each beast will pop up throughout the story due to each certain environment. Like first we're at the jungle, because like the map looks pretty cool too. Like first you have a jungle, then you have the peaks, and then you go to the moat around the prison. So each one is in a specific space, which makes sense. Feels a different form of questing. Anyway, our heroes wondered where were all the animals, when suddenly it was soon revealed the jungle was alive. First, a flower seemed to surprise them with a flower surprised them with like a smoke thing, and then the vines started attacking them, grabbing the queen. Tom ran after Aroha, but Eleanor was also captured. Then Tom had some entanglements, but it didn't take long to get free with his friends. However, the queen realized the jewels had fallen out of her pouch. So while Eleanor and Yara stretched. While Eleanor and Yara searched, Aroa and Tom fought off the living plants. After a brief thing with the queen, she felt bad. Assuming she had lost the jewels, basically. But it didn't take long for our heroes to realize Yara had been picking them up. Caught in the act, Yara handed them back to the queen, claiming she was planning to return them to do so after they escaped the plants. Anyway, the group suddenly hid as a beast emerged, Akorta, and of course, Yara stepped on a twig, alerting Akorta to their position. More hints that Yara has her own motives. It feels at points the book itself is aware of its obvious shady character. Like, she's trying to take the jewels for himself, but she was caught in the act. She steps on the twig. Now, you could also say she intended to do that to get the beast's attention on our heroes. So, there are a few, I can see you going down the dark side, Yara. We're on to you. Tom and friends tried their best to fend off Akorta from Aroha. If you're wondering, Aroha explains who this beast is, hence how they figure out his name. While they attempted to defeat Akorta quickly, it was soon revealed that Akorta possessed an extra eye on the back of his head, making Akorta see his attack coming. Queen Aroha left to get higher vantage point, while Yara either fainted or pretended to be dead. So Aroha's plan seemed to work, then suddenly, big surprise, the all-seeing ape saw the queen's attack coming as well, and now Akorta was planning to eat her. It is cool to see the queen finally get out, and it shows she's a powerful warrior too. I think we get a slice of it in Exocon, but I feel like we get more of it in this story, and I hope it keeps focusing on her, because she seems good both in combat and tactician. Eleanor had a plan. She threw up. Eleanor had an arrow, right? And she threw it up with the plant that she had prior in a previous chapter. Because I mentioned, like in a previous chapter, there was this plant that was explosive, and then I found it. So Eleanor gets that plant again, whips an arrow, throws the plant up where Akorta is, and basically helps Aroha escape. Because it exploded in Akorta's face, making the queen escape. Tom created a lasso, and it didn't take long to hoist it around the beast's neck. They soon tripped up the all-seeing ape, and together, Tom, Eleanor, and Aroha strangled Akorta to death. With Akorta dead, one of the jewels of Tangala's glowed, making Akorta's body vanish and restoring the jungle to its natural roots. They woke up Yara, and Tom claimed this was just the beginning. And I know Adam won't like this book now, and I'll get to that why. But yeah, there is a Akorta the All-Seeing, a pretty rough story, I would say. It goes straight to the point, explaining who your new side character is, or potential henchman is. We also have the Queen getting some more stuff to do, which I'll get into her character. We get Tom and Eleanor back again for another quest, similar to Series 15, with like the Tangala stuff, which is pretty awesome. We get like another kingdom, a neighboring kingdom, which is basically a prison. You could like say like Alcatraz. And like Zargon is going to be the new mysterious villain that we haven't met before. So like a wizard from Tangala, that's cool, and he could be a very old wizard for all we know. And the fact that we're going to his prison is a cool idea, so he can see all his imprisoned beasts, and he needs the certain jewels to break free in exchange for Prince Rotu's life. And it does seem Prince Rotu has grown as a character since Series 15. Well, we'll see how that turns out. But let's go to the characters now. Overall, my thoughts, a few rough scuffles here in the story, but I think I did a good analysis overall. Pretty good. So that being said, let's go through the but like I said, before I go to the actual characters, I want to go with this. I don't think Adam's gonna like this book. I don't think so, and that more relates to the Beast, and I'll get to Akorta in a bit. But yeah, starting off with Tom, of course. Tom, main character of the book, he doesn't get much to do. It's more only a Queen Aroha's story. When you think about it. I mean, well, Tom, I would say Tom isn't the leader in this book. That's more of Aroha's job. She's the leader in this position. This is her land. This is her quest. She knows the villain well enough, or the most probably. She knows the situation about Zargon. She knows Prince Rotu well enough. This feels more like Aroha's story. It feels like a good follow-up from Series 24 now I think about it, because like, one of the key elements that made Series 24 good was that we had Elena, a character not used to be in the driver's seat, actually in the driver's seat. Now, while I agree it was actually handled better in Series 24 because of the better relationship we've had with Elena, it's still a nice, interesting concept to have another character be in the spotlight too, with now Queen Aroha. That's pretty cool. So that's pretty awesome. But overall, Tom still gets his moments to shine on this. Basically, he's a good moral support for the Queen. Basically what Yara is supposed to be, and she is not. So I think he does a pretty good, decent job. And it is nice to see Tom, Elena, and Aroha actually all defeat the Beast together, which I do enjoy. Moving on, Elena, she gets much to do. Actually, Elena may get a bit more to do than Tom at times. Again, she figures out, yes, she got the flower, but she figured out how to use that flower to her advantage for a later trick. So she does seem to get a little more edge to her too. Plus, she has a bit of a backbone in this story too. She's on to Yara like us, which makes her relatable more. So I feel like Elena gets a bit more to do than Tom, which I'm not saying Tom gets the shaft, but he kind of does. But I feel like this Series 25 is learning from its previous errors. It's learning. Queen Aroha, she's obviously the leading character, the main character at this point, until the story changes my mind. But in this book, I say she's the main character. Like I established her, she knows who the victim is, Prince Rotu. The Tangala is all about her place, dealing with a portion of her past, dealing with Yara, all this stuff. And the fact that she proves to be a good, capable fighter, making the decisions, pushing the group forward. Pretty awesome overall character-wise. I'm looking forward to see how they further progress her. It's going to be awesome. And I really hope that the Queen of Roho doesn't die or something like that, be so dark, because when you've just got a baby. But that wouldn't surprise me if Beast Quest does that, because tension's always good. But yeah, there's a Roha for you. Pretty awesome character. Yara is clearly going to either A, be a Captain Hartman-like character, where like they start as a douche, but realistically they have a heart of gold, or we have a sort of Prince Rotu Series 15 scenario where like, hey, I don't like you, I'm a snobby douche, but then it's realistically, oh, I'm working with the villain all along. And there are several instances where it seems to be the case, so it just feels a bit odd, unless it's like I don't know. Unless it's meant to be like a red herring to throw us off, it's very obvious that she could be a betrayer. As it stands though, Yara's okay. But yeah, moving on to Akorta, the Beast itself. I know Adam's not going to like this book because the Beast, when you get to the Beast, it's basically 2 chapters, and that's mainly due to the story, because you've got to set up the plot, then set up the locations, then get to that location, and get to the jungle, and all this stuff, and explain what the jungle is, it's alive, all this stuff, just to explain about all these elements, so we know what the plot is, we know what the beasts are, we know what the jungle is, we know how Elena can use that jungle against them, along with our heroes, and then he gets punked out. Basically, the all-seeing ape comes down to 2 eyeballs. One in the front and one in the back. And he basically gets blinded in his eyes, allowing Tom, Elena, and Aroha to put a giant rope around him and strangle him to death because he falls over and he dies. Basically, that's very right. He gets blind. Oh, I can't see. Fall over. Dead. And pretty much that's it, really. So I'm pretty sure Adam's not going to like this. This may be probably the weakest monkey fight out of all of them. slash ape fight Call of Wish. It might be. I don't know why Beast Quest is a running trend, but this makes sense if you think about it, because like it's the starter book, so but at least it gets some shape to it. But yeah, there is a Akorta, the All-Seeing Ape. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, you know what I'm saying. There's not much. I was going to go on to Akorta himself, but there really isn't much to it. He's basically like, I was going to say like an Akorta character, but he's just basically full on brute rage. I would expect the All-Seeing Ape to be a bit smarter, but not really. He's just more like an extra eye he has and doesn't use it to its full potential. But yeah, there isn't really much to say about Akorta because he doesn't give it time to do. Anyway, that'd be all from me. This has been my little attempt at doing Akorta, the All-Seeing Ape. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Join us next time on Beast Quest. I'll be continuing on the Series 25 videos, which I do have its sequel, Haxa, the Hunter, Haxa, Hunter of the Peaks. Same thing for that one. Upcoming Q&A, also in a way to have it already. Make sure to put your questions in for the upcoming Q&A coming at the end of June. That'll be all from me. I'll see you next video, wherever it will be, for Beast Quest Book 2, Haxa, Hunter of the Peaks. Till next time, like always, peace.